Everybody, Assalamu alaikum. How are you guys doing? I hope fantastic. Just quick introductions. You guys probably know me by now, but I'm Yusra Ishaq. I'm a health and fitness behavior change coach. I work with amazing women from all over the globe, helping them achieve their health and fitness goals through the lens of behavior change. While a lot of programs focus on just nutrition and exercise, while we also focus on that, right? Because those things are important, but what we focus in what I do is also behaviors, right? So your habits, your current behaviors and all of those things, because those current behaviors and patterns of behaviors and habits that you've built over the years are usually the things that are going to dictate your eating and your movement and stuff like that. So if you're someone who's trying to lose weight and you're trying to change your nutrition without changing your underlying patterns of behaviors, things that you've built over the years, then you're kind of putting yourself in a position of making that journey very, very hard. And it's one of the reasons why you find people starting and stopping, because the change feels too much, right? Purely because they haven't worked on those underlying drivers of why they eat the way they do. Why do they choose to exercise or not exercise and stuff like that? Okay, so today's topic is a really interesting one. And I think it's a really important one for people to understand. I get a lot of messages from women, wanting to lose weight. And the question that I always ask is, what have you tried to do to lose weight? Either they've been on diets or stuff like that. Or others may even say, no, I can't diet. I haven't been dieting, but what I have done is portion control. Right. And then the conversation usually goes, okay, then what happened? And it's usually, but then I don't get full up, so I end up overeating and all of these things. And that right there is the problem, reducing your portion sizes. Now, to explain that, I'm just going to give you a brief explanation of how weight loss works. Okay. To lose weight, you need to burn more calories than what you're taking in. That's it. You need to expend more calories than what you're eating. You need to give out more energy than the energy that you're consuming through the food, through the drink, or the drinks that you're having and stuff like that. Now, when you're trying to lose weight, what tends to happen for a lot of people is when they start to lose a bit of weight, what they tend to find is their hunger goes up. Their appetite becomes upregulated. Why? This is a normal physiological response, because the body wants to keep you alive. And fat stores, adipose tissues, right? This is how we store that excess energy. When you lose weight, you're reducing the fat stores in your body. And that reduction of the fat stores, it kind of freaks the body out. The body's going, oh my God, this person is losing too much weight. What if she ends up dying? What if she ends up starving? And all of these things, right? So what tends to happen as a way to make you regain weight, because remember, the body is trying to defend you, is what it's built to do. The brain is there to keep you alive, to defend you, right? So what it does is it upregulates your hunger hormones. So what you tend to find yourself is you become hungrier. The more weight you lose, the hungrier you may be, right? So you find yourself eating a lot more and stuff like that, right? This is why a lot of people, when they start to lose weight, they get stuck, because they're going, how do I manage the hunger? And knowing how to manage the hunger is absolutely key. Now, when people are trying to lose weight, what they're doing is they're reducing the portion size, the quantity of the food that they're eating. So they're moving away from the volume that they're used to, bigger portion sizes, say a whole plate of rice to a quarter plate of rice, because they're trying to lose weight. And this is understandable because you want to create a caloric deficit, which is absolutely, you want to reduce the amount of calories you're consuming, right? But the problem is when you're reducing the portion size as a way to reduce the amount of calories you're consuming, you're eating a smaller volume. Your body is, up to now, before your weight loss journey, your body is used to a certain volume. Yeah. Have you ever realized that when you put food There's an amount that you're used to. Anything less than that, it's not going to fill you up, right? Why? Because your stomach is used to that, right? Your body is used to a certain level of stretching of your stomach. To know, Yusra is full now because this is her normal amount in volume that she's eaten. We adapt. Human beings are adaptable. So when you're reducing the portion size, right? You're reducing the quantity. Of course, you're going to be hungrier. Of course, you're not going to be hungrier. So what you tend to find yourself now is you're snacking a lot more between meals. What this then does is it makes you consume even more calories than the calories that you're trying to reduce by reducing the portion size. Does that make sense? Now, while reducing portion size of, say, carbohydrates and stuff like that, and things that are high in calories is important, right? What you also want to focus on is adding things to your plate so that the volume of the foods that you're eating when you're trying to lose weight is similar to the volume, not in calories, in volume. Quantity doesn't always equate to calories, right? It's equal to the quantity that you used to eat before you're trying to lose weight. Why? So that you don't freak your body out, right? So you don't stay hungry. Right? Now, you may be thinking, okay, what kind of things do I add, right? Do I add to this rice? I'll use rice as an example, right? So you say you're someone who's used to eating a whole plate of rice. Now you're having a quarter rice. What can you add to that to increase the volume so you're full up? What do you think you can add to that? Lots of greens, lots of veggies, protein, right? And there's a reason we say that, and I'm going to explain it to you, right? What the veggie is going to do is going to do two things. Let's talk about the veggies first. The first thing is it's going to increase the volume of the foods that you're eating, leaving you fuller for longer. So you're not too hungry between meals, right? The second thing is we don't have all the digestive enzymes that we need to break down all the fiber in the veggies that we consume. I'll give an example. If you like sweet corn, have you noticed when you go do number 2, you have pieces of sweet corn in your, in your ships that you're trying to sink, right? Yeah, because we don't have digestive enzyme to break down all the fiber that we consume. And when you can't break something down, you can't absorb it. And when you can't absorb something, you're not consuming those calories. So when you have fiber, there's less metabolized energy that you're taking in. That's the beautiful thing about it as well. There's less metabolized energy. So you're actually absorbing less calories when you have foods that are higher in fiber because we can't break down all the fiber. So when you have your veggies, again, you're doing two things at the same time. Number one, you're consuming less calories because a lot of the vegetables, as long as you don't cook them drowning in oil, they're low in calories. You can cook them in smart ways where they're low in calories. So you get the volume, the quantity to keep you full, but also low in calories. So that helps you create the caloric deficit that you want without you being hungry. The second thing is there's less metabolized energy. So you're absorbing less calories from these high fiber foods, right? Purely because we can't break down all the fiber. So again, it helps you create the caloric deficit. So you're consuming less calories. Yes, baby.
How many hours left?
2 more hours, baby. Okay. Now that's where the veggies go. So if you're trying to lose weight, instead of just cutting out the portion size and having tiny bits, so I see people having tiny bits of food, that's not even enough for a 1-year-old. So of course you're going to be hungry between meals, right? So be smart about it. If you're reducing the portion sizes, make sure you're adding to your plate so you have an almost equal amount to what you're already used to eating. The second thing is protein. Why do we shout about protein? Right? Yeah, protein is important. Everything in our body is made up of protein. You need to survive. People starve and they die. Why? Because they don't have any more muscle to break down into amino acids that our organs need. That's how starvation happens. So protein is super, super important. Now, we know one of the properties of protein is satiety. It improves satiety. It leaves you fuller for longer. Think about it. Can you sit down with a whole bowl of chicken and just eat on its own? Not a lot of people can do that. I think I can do that, but because I love chicken, but not a lot of people can do that. But you can sit down with a whole bowl of chips and demolish it, right? So there's a lot of things in protein, that helps improve satiety, which means it's going to leave you fuller for longer. Also, when you're choosing the right cuts of meat, let's say lean protein, they tend to be lower in calories for the amount of protein that you get, which is a win-win situation. Another thing about protein, though, is this concept of thermic effect of feeding. This essentially means it's the energy, the digestive load, right? It's the energy that the body uses to burn, to digest the same protein that you're eating. Up to 30% of calories from a protein source that you're consuming will be used to digest the same protein. I'll give you an example. Say a chicken breast is 200 calories, right? So you're eating 200 calories, but you're not going to absorb 200 calories. Why? Because up to 30% of those 200 calories, they're going to be used to digest that protein. So you're consuming a lot less calories than 200 calories. Again, what this does is it helps to create the caloric deficit that you want. Now, this is where people don't really understand when it comes to what kind of things to tweak and to do when you're trying to lose weight. Food choice becomes absolutely important, absolutely key. Right? Because when you're smart and when you can find foods that are going to, number one, that are lower in calories because you're trying to lose weight, they are lower in calories means you'll be able to create the caloric deficit that you want, right? And foods that are going to leave you fuller for longer, then you're golden, right? You're golden. I remember when I was at home with my mom, right? And my plates are always huge. If you look at the quantity of the foods that I'm eating, they're usually large in quantities, but they're lower in calories because I love to eat. I love to eat. And because I love to eat, I love certain things, I make sure, right, I eat them in a way that serves my purpose and I don't overeat in terms of calories. So I was sitting down with my mom. I had this huge plate, right? They had like 3 eggs on there. I had some tomatoes and all of these things, right? And then on her plate, she had 2 rice cakes. We call them vitumbua back home, only a couple of them. And they're really small like that, right? And she goes, MashaAllah, that's a lot. Are you going to eat all that? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, that's quite a bit. I'm like, it is quite a bit in volume, but that's the thing though. This whole plate of 3 eggs, tomatoes, and all of these things is under 300 calories. It's going to leave me full until lunchtime, while your 2 rice cakes each is about 300 calories, and in the next couple of hours you're going to be hungry again. So I'm consuming half the calories that she's consuming, but I'm going to stay full until lunchtime, and she's going to be hungry in the next couple of hours. Right? Another thing to add to that, because my plate is full of protein and full of the veggies and all of these things, I'm not going to absorb all the calories that I'm eating. Remember, we said we can't break down a lot of the fiber and how protein, about 30% of protein is being used to burn the same protein. Because my plate is full of fiber and protein, right? I'm not going to absorb all those calories. So I'm actually going to absorb less than 300 calories. While for her, she's going to absorb all those calories because everything on her plate is higher in sugar and oils and all of these things. So she's absorbing all those calories. Does that make sense? So when you're trying to lose weight, be very smart and strategic when it comes to your food choices. I am not saying don't have your cakes and cookies. Absolutely have them, but you have to budget for them. You have to know how to maneuver your food and how to play around with your food choices so you can make room for these indulgences that you want, so that you don't feel deprived. You want to feel satiated. You want to feel like, yes, I can do this. I've got this. I can stick with this. And the only way to do this is, number one, by making sure that you're not constantly hungry, which tends to happen for a lot of people when they're trying to go on diets, because they just don't know what food choices to kind of focus on, which is what is heavy in my coaching, teaching you all these things, right? Number two, depriving themselves of cakes and cookies because of this idea of, oh my God, I'm on a diet now. I have to cut out all the sugar. No, you don't, right? It all comes down to being smart and knowing what to do, how to swap this for that and stuff like that. Okay, which is exactly what I do in my coaching. So I hope this live was helpful. If it was, I'd love a comment and stuff like that. Just let me know if you can relate to it. Let me know if you're going to practice it. And if you do practice it, or if you've been practicing it, I would love your feedback, how it's going. And that's it for today. I also wanted to mention that Reclaim Your Sparkle Light program is enrolling right now. And the things that I spoke about here is exactly the things that I coach around, because it is beyond me telling you, eat this, don't eat that, right? It's me giving you all the tools you need so you can make decisions way after we stop working together. So we work on your nutrition knowledge. We work on changing the foods that you love right now and tweak them so that you can continue eating them, but in a way that serve your goal. And most of all, we work on those behaviors, on your mindset, on how you live your life, on the stresses of life and how you cope with those stresses and all of these things. I'm huge in bridging the gap between physical health, mental health, and even spiritual health, because all of these things matter. Okay, that's it for me today. Talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye.